Hello, I'm Patricia Henderson with Senior Connection Center, and this is your weekly connection. Today's topic is mental health during COVID-19. Our guests today are Bardine Hicks, Outreach Coordinator at Senior Connection Center, and Debra Jordan, Access Manager at Centerstone. She is a licensed mental health counselor with an infant mental health endorsement. Thank you both for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want us to talk today about some very practical things that people may want to know about coping with stress, loss, all of those feelings that we are experiencing as a community and as individuals. Debra, are these feelings normal?
When you say are feelings normal, we can't normalize or abnormalize any feelings. If you feel them, you're justified. Acting on them are different, but all feelings are normal because they came up. Like bodily functions we can't control, feelings are normal. Right now, it would be very typical to be confused about your feelings because there's so many that could happen at any given time. And yes, every single one of them are justified.
That's good to know. Because sometimes we think about our own feelings and we think we're the only one feeling that.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the things we're talking about today, loss, stress, are very common these days.
Mm-hmm.
Because as a community, we're all experiencing many of the same things. What are some very practical ways that we can cope with stress, loss, or any of the other feelings that we might be experiencing?
In the therapeutic world, we always say that we speak the unspeakable. And by that, we mean we name the feelings that we're having. Some people aren't so good at it. And when we do it out loud and we do it intentionally, we're helping them. We're modeling other people that aren't as good at it. And we're also helping ourselves. So when we have these feelings or these emotions, it's really important that we don't judge them. We don't judge ourselves for having them. That looks like someone would say, you know, I feel really lonely today. Stupid me, I shouldn't feel this way. I've got all this family and 10 people called. But that's a judgment. And when we judge ourselves for having a feeling, we're more likely to suppress them or hide them, avoid talking about them. So we want to make sure that first and foremost, we allow ourselves, give ourselves permission to feel whatever it is we're feeling. And then after we allow it, we start naming it out loud. It takes the stigma off of it. It takes the sting out a little bit, and it provides acceptance. And when we have feelings, it's very important that we accept them. We give them the time that they deserve in our mind and our space, and then we can move forward from them. It's when we deny them or we judge them or we pretend they don't exist or we mock ourselves for having them. That's when they linger longer and they cause more damage.
And I think that we do need to bring our feelings out in the open and talk. And how can people do that? Is it okay just to talk to a friend, a relative? How do people access that?
All of the above, and even yourself. It's okay. It's perfectly fine to wake up in the morning and step on something and go, ow, that hurts, right? Hurts are hurts, whether they're emotional hurts or physical hurts. And it's okay to talk about them and say them out loud. As humans, one of the things we learn at a very young age, and it's unhealthy learning, is that we're responsible for other people's feelings. And that's an unhealthy way. So for example, if I have a feeling that's strong, I may not tell you because I don't want to impose on you or hurt your feelings. So we need to combat that from the very beginning. I have feelings and it's okay, and you have feelings and it's okay, and I'm not responsible for yours and you're not responsible for mine. When we can take that burden off of ourselves, then we're freer to discuss these things. So for example, Patricia, if I were to go to you or Bardine and I were to say, hey, you know, I'm feeling really sad right now. And you felt like it was your job to fix that, to fix me. That's a lot of pressure on you, right? And I like you guys, so I'm not going to put pressure on you. So I'm not going to tell you how I feel. And it's a vicious cycle, right? We need to break the cycle and break that stigma. And just to say, you know, I have permission, I have a right to go to you and say, you know, Patricia, I don't expect you to do anything about it. Just hear me out. I'm really down today. You know? And that allows us, that gives us permission to talk. And if your response is very appropriate in, wow, you know, okay, I didn't know you were feeling that way, and you're not trying to fix me or change me, then that response is going to encourage me to come back another time and talk more and more.
So listening is something that we all can do to help each other.
Absolutely.
And talking is something we can do to help ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned talking to yourself out loud in a journal. How would that happen?
Recently, I heard since COVID, I think it's 42% of Americans are admitting to talking to their pets. So that's how it happens. So no one's in the room, right? Again, stigma. No one's in the room if I'm talking to myself. That makes me crazy, right? No, if I step on something, again with that analogy, I'm going to say ouch, even though nobody's in the room. I'm going to say what I'm feeling in that moment out loud. I'm going to verbalize it. Having a 30-minute conversation with yourself may not be as healthy as what I'm referring to, but if you're in a moment and you're like, man, I really feel this certain way, and it's probably because XYZ, I think maybe I'm going to change what I'm doing tomorrow. I'm going to have a better plan. So when you're talking things out, you're processing, even when you're alone. When you're journaling, you're processing. To be able to write, and I probably should let you know I'm a little bit of a nerd in this area. I love the brain. But to be able to write how you're feeling down on a piece of paper uses so many different parts of your brain at one time that you are processing better than ever. You are really processing what you're thinking. And I have had this experience, most people have. You don't realize what you're saying until you say it out loud and you hear it. And you go, ooh, you know, that wasn't what I meant, or that's not, am I really thinking that?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, talking out loud to your pets, writing or journaling. Sometimes people worry about privacy. When they do that, I encourage them to open a computer document, type out everything they're thinking and feeling, and then delete it. And empty the deleted folder. When you're writing it out and typing it out, you're processing it, you're not so much alone, you don't feel as unheard. And then if you are worried that someone will know your innermost conversations, then you can delete those.
And sometimes I think when people hear the word journaling, they think lengthy entries, but sometimes it just needs to be 1 or 2 sentences.
Yeah, it can be. You can journal something very simple of, say you have a big feeling. Who knows what it is? Maybe it's really happy, for example. And you take the journal and you say, I am feeling very happy right now. One of the things you can write following up is why? What happened? What are you thinking? So there's 3 things happening: how you feel, what you're experiencing, and what the thought was. That's very healthy to capture what that thought was. Because if you do this enough times over a day, you'll find a pattern. You'll find either a pattern of negative thinking or a pattern of really positive thinking, or both. And you'll say, you know what, whenever I'm thinking and telling myself that I am successful, look at all these happy moods I have. Whenever I'm telling myself I'm all alone, look at what is happening here. I'm having big negative feelings. So you can track patterns very easily with journaling. And it's 3 sentences. You know, I'm having very sad right now. I'm thinking about the loss of my mother. I'm telling myself I should have been there. You know, 3 simple sentences will help you identify patterns and help you change your way of thinking and how you improve your own mood.
Well, during this time, many people are living alone, and many people are socially isolated because they're trying to physically distance as well. And so one of those things that we want to talk about is how to connect, because connection is so important for our mental health. And One of the things that we are doing is encouraging people to reach out to individuals they know who may be alone and have a conversation with them. You just check on them. Hi, how you doing today? And oftentimes just that one call makes people feel less alone. One of the things that our office is doing and many other offices are doing in community organizations are what are called telephone reassurance calls. And Bardine, I know that you are doing those telephone reassurance calls right now.
Yes, I
Can you
am.
tell us a little bit more about what happens during a telephone reassurance call? When you call somebody, what do you say? What do you talk about?
Well, we, identify that, Senior Connection Center's calling, and the reason for the call is that we are, doing like a wellness check. Um, we want to know how they're doing during the coronavirus outbreak, and to see if they have needs for any resources. Are you feeling, any type of, emotions or indifferences or whatever because of the virus? How are you, managing as far as, taking care of just even basic needs? I asked them, do you have connection with family, friends, or neighbors? Um, just to try to get, a general feel from them, what's it like for them? And, also that they feel comfortable, that they can, share, their feelings or whatever. And most often those calls are very appreciated by those that we've been contacting. Those that we've been contacting are people that they said that they live alone and they are on the wait list. So we just want to check on them and see how they're doing.
Bardine, that sounds very interesting and very useful for so many people to get that telephone reassurance call. Can you share with us about an interesting call that you've had?
Yes, I actually I contacted a client, and I actually wasn't expecting that they would answer the phone. I was expecting the caregiver, and the client actually answered the phone. And to my I won't say amusement. I really was very delighted because they were over 100, and we actually had a conversation, and they share with me what some of their needs are. And so I, you know, provided, reassurance as far as discussing with them, the process of, how we connect clients with services or agencies, in their area. And so, just ask what was her secret to such a long life, and how I was so honored that they actually answered the phone. So was able to connect the client with resources they were in such need of.
That sounds very interesting. I bet you talk to a lot of interesting people.
I do, and this has really been a really great opportunity. It's an extension of outreach, as far as I'm concerned. Being able to contact their clients. Uh, there are some who have expressed, particularly the ones that are in the assisted living facility, with them taking precautions, for their social distancing. Even some of the 55 plus, housing residents are saying, yeah, I really miss my friends, and I'm getting a little cabin fever, and and then some of them, they really need to talk, and they say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I said, no, it's okay. And that's the reason why we're calling. because we really are concerned about your well-being at this time. And, it's okay. You can share, and, it's in confidence and whatnot. And, just to, allow them a chance to just, it's good to, share those things. And so it's really been, a great opportunity to be able to serve our clients in this way.
And there are many organizations within our community that are providing telephone reassurance calls. And I want to encourage you, if you're watching this, that if you have an older adult in your life or someone who is staying close to home because of COVID-19, reach out, call them, email them, text them, just check on them, make sure they're doing okay. Because you can provide telephone reassurance calls on your own, and family members, neighbors, friends will appreciate it. Debra, I wanted to ask you about some of the other practical ways that people may be able to employ to reduce that stress, to reduce that cabin fever feeling that many of us are starting to feel now that as this pandemic stretches on. And what are some very practical ways that people can address that stress or that feeling of loss or all of those things that we said were our common feelings?
Right. One of the important things is that we have a shared emotion or a shared connection. So just because we can't talk to someone in face to face doesn't mean we can't take use of technology, take use of writing a letter. How practical is that? Writing a letter and actually putting it in the mail. Our older population is one of our most valuable, and there's so much information that they have that we need. To see handwritten information on a piece of paper, or to even have, don't underestimate the ability of someone to learn how to make a video, learn how to tell a video. What a wonderful thing for a family member to wake up to and there be a video sent to them from their mother, their grandmother, that says, hey, I'm just going to tell you about your grandfather and I's first date. And just to recapture, and that's history, and that's important, and it's family knowledge that needs to be passed around. So don't underestimate their ability, anyone's ability to learn technology, be able to video record things that they remember, things they just thought of, to send a message to your daughter and say, hey, I just had a memory of when you were 3 and you stole some gum from the store, and this is how we handled it. Those are wonderful captured moments that would be lost forever if we didn't take advantage of opportunities like this. It can be handwritten, it can be in a video, or even in a voice, but it needs to be something that we all have. And then to be able to respond back to that, to my mother, hey, one of my fondest memories that I may never have ever told you about was when you made me graham crackers with peanut butter after school. Those are things that we can share and have what takes 3 minutes and have a moment, but putting it on paper and writing, or putting it on video or on voicemail, even saying, hey, I'm going to call you, I'm going to leave you a message, don't answer, I'm going to leave it on voicemail. Those are really important because you don't have it just that moment. You have it throughout the day, and it allows you to keep, whenever you feel disconnected, it allows you to reconnect. There's other practical Pinterest games, things of that nature. I love dysfunctional bingo. Make your own bingo card of all the crazy things you could see out your window in a day, and then have someone else make a bingo card and rearrange it with the same things, and just see who can get bingo first. Like red sports car, anything that could come by. Mm-hmm. 2 birds fighting, a squirrel burying a nut. These are things that seem a little boring, but if it hits your bingo card, then all of a sudden you're excited about it, right? That's one way. There's another way, guess what this is, where you take a picture of just a small, like this ink pen top, and I focus just on the ink pen top, and I send that, you got 3 guesses. Can you guess what this is? Just little games. There's tons of those on the internet. I encourage everybody to reach out and get creative and look for those ways to stay connected. If you can make somebody smile for just a minute, then it's going to last a whole lot longer than that minute.
Yes.
I hope that answers your question. There's just some practical ways that we can not feel so alone or isolated. Even if it's your neighbor, or you may not like your neighbor that much, but now's the time to break down some barriers, right?
Yeah, right.
Now's the time to reach out to people and let go of petty things or things from the past.
This time has emphasized what's really important in many people's lives.
Yes.
And one of the things I want to ask is, what about staying physically active and exercising? Does that help mental health as well?
It does. Research shows us that sunshine also helps your mental health. It helps that vitamin D3 to be made in the skin and things of that nature. So yeah, if you can, go weed a flower bed or walk around your home, or just even walking outside your door. Little projects that slip our minds or that we don't even attempt because we're so busy could be tackled now. You know, painting a door, a whole new color, something different. Those things bring joy into our life. Being physically active is extremely important. I mean, your dog might have gained a little weight during COVID too. So taking them for a little bit longer walk, stretching yourself a little bit. Even lifting some canned vegetables for weights can also help. Definitely staying active helps the brain produce the right hormones that you need to be happy and have good mental health.
And those little projects you mentioned give a sense of accomplishment as well. And that can give a little boost to how someone is feeling during the day.
Yes. It's amazing how cleaning out a cluttered closet, donating, getting rid of stuff, and then looking back at an organized, clean closet, it's amazing the impact that that can have on you in so many different ways. And you're also helping others.
Now, a lot of people wonder about, okay, so what I'm feeling is normal, but it doesn't seem to be getting any better. I've tried all the practical things and I still feel stuck or overwhelmed or scared, or just feel like I'm grieving the loss of normal life all of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be appropriate to reach out for professional help at that time?
Absolutely. Right now we have a lot of changes in regulations and things of that nature, and telehealth is extremely accessible. And why not? We can let those things off our chest. We can communicate with someone. We can have a non-biased person that's only in our corner and no one else's. They're there for us and for that 1 hour. And like I said before, we say things out loud, then we realize either we don't like the things we're saying or we're glad for the things we're saying. So when you have someone to bounce these things off to, it's much more healthier. You know that you're ready for that type of help when you can't shake these hard feelings, when you can't, you've already accepted them, but they still linger and they still continue. And if you catch yourself crying throughout the day and you not have that non-judgmental moment that passes, but it sticks with you, and you feel a huge sense of loss, or that you just can't keep up with what other people are keeping up with, or you're less than they are, or not as strong as they are, then it's time to talk to someone that maybe you can, they can help normalize a little bit of these emotions for you and help you see where you are, and that you do have strengths. You have plenty of strengths, and that you're the only expert on yourself. Bouncing those off with a good therapist or counselor is a good way to do that.
And we would all go to the doctor or to the clinic if we had a broken arm or a sprained ankle. And just as our feelings or emotion may be broken or strained or sprained, we should get help for those as well. And
Absolutely.
There's no stigma. And we can all benefit from a little help every now and then.
Yes.
And so we want to make sure that people know that there are counseling lines that are out in the community, and we will post those at the end of the video. We will also post information for several resources throughout our communities that we serve, that if somebody does feel like they're at that point where talking to a friend is not working, they need a little bit extra help, then they have a resource to contact. And we want to make sure people have that information as well, because everybody needs help, whether that is, everybody needs help coping with what we're going through now as a community, as a country. Talking to a friend is good. And for most people, that's enough. But sometimes people need a little bit more help. So we have those resources posted at the end of the video.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. It's already on your mind. You might as well talk about it so you can move forward, right?
Absolutely.
When we try to pretend, then it sticks a little bit too long.
Well, we're coming to the end of our program. Debra, do you have any final thoughts for us?
I just want to reiterate that connection is extremely important, and it doesn't have to be a physical connection. It can be a perceived connection. It can be reaching out, having a Zoom meeting similar to what we're having, where you're singing happy birthday to someone. It can be any type of connection, but feeling connected is extremely important. And get creative. I mean, why not? You can blame everything on COVID right now. So why not think outside the box and let go of some of these inhibitions that keep us from trying something new?
That's sage advice. Bardine, you have any last words for us?
I just want to encourage everyone to remember that when the population that we are, serving and that we, want to support, especially during this COVID outbreak, that many of them do not use technology. They do enjoy a telephone call. And so, just take a few moments, just give them a phone call. I even have someone that occasionally I will call them and they'll want me to read a devotion to them, something to uplift their spirits. Or you could read a book with them. You can read a book together. So there are just little things that matter right now. As you said, Patricia, it certainly makes us look at things to see what's really of value right now. And our older population is very valuable. And so, as you say, spending time with them, you can learn a great deal of history about your family, learn some things about yourself, get some good pearls of wisdom at this time.
That's sage advice as well. I want to thank you both for joining me today. And I'm Patricia Henderson, and this is your Weekly Connection.
Thank you for having me.